United Colors of America by Dr. Sharad Varde from the forthcoming book Peeping at America. The stewardess of the restaurant held us back, saying, "Hey, you guys wait for a while. On this side are all Asians. You go to the other section, that's quieter." She directed us to a different part of the eatery, saying, "You guys will be more comfortable there." I wondered from which angle we three Indians, one each from Punjab, Kerala, and Maharashtra, did not look like Asians to our Hispanic eyes. After we settled at our assigned tables, my Punjabi host explained me the difference. So I learned that although Indians are Asians according to geography, they are not Asians according to the Americans, and therefore according to the British, and therefore according to the rest of the Western Europe. Even many other geographical Asians like the Arabs, the Iranians, the Afghanis are not called Asians. Asians for them are light yellowish skinned souls from the Far East, East Asia, and Southeast Asian countries. More specifically, Japan, South Korea, China, Taiwan, Mongolia, Thailand, Singapore, the Philippines, Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos, and even North Korea. To an average American, the term Indian refers to the native citizens of the US. We Indians from Asia are the recent entrants, whereas the native residents have been around since Adams. Enthusiastic Americans routinely visit shops classified as Indian stores in Houston to purchase Aboriginal artifacts and costumes around the American Festival of Thanksgiving, which is celebrated to remember Native Americans' sharing of autumn harvest with the overseas occupiers from Europe in 1621. In fact, the confusion about who precisely is an Indian is so much that when one American senator referred to the great Indian cultural heritage of America in his speech, the Patels in the auditorium clapped elatedly. The senator did not understand why the rich motel and hotel owners were so happy. But I'm pleased to note that some well educated Americans know a lot more about India than even an average Indian does. I met a few of them who had been to places in India that most Indians haven't bothered to visit. They had been even to the Kumbh Mela festival. I have not. They had been to the northeastern states of India, namely Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, Tripura, Mizoram, Nagaland, Meghalaya, and Tripura. On my side, I'm sorry, but I can't even locate each one of these states precisely on the map of India. Neither do I remember their state capitals. But these studious Americans do. Actually, the country of origin should not bother the Americans because America itself is a nation of expatriates. The difference must be only the date of arrival. Whether in the 11th century, along with the Vikings, or in 1620 as pilgrims on the Mayflower ship, or during the next 250 years from Europe, Russia, and Africa, or in the last 50 years from Asia. Visibly, the country of origin is linked to the color of the skin. So watch a not so busy subway train. The vacant seat next to a black is the last to be occupied by a white. Howsoever smartly dressed is the former, and howsoever shabbily the latter. A new white passenger arriving on the train screens the scenario to spot ideal vacant seat. Discovering one next to a white, he or she thanks the stars and proceeds to occupy it happily. If all royal white seats are occupied, the gaze travels panoramically to find a yellow neighbor, then a light brown, then a medium brown, and then a chocolate brown in that order. Finally, a black. Or the person would rather stand near the door. I know this narration may sound a bit weird, but a lot of colored residents and visitors observe it from time to time. In fact, there is enough literature published in the US even this year about the silent and subtle racial discrimination. Nobody talks about it openly, but the colored people do feel it. Strangely, other colors also show their skin preferences. Well dressed yellow skinned men try to acquire a white female neighborhood, failing which white male vicinity. Other yellows straight opt for temporary companions from their own region. Browns attempt to head towards white and yellow in that order, just for the sake of variety, and often settle for a brown seat if confronted with an unfriendly "you are not welcome" glance. If a black man tries to sit next to any of the first three colors, he gets a drop dead look that would invariably result in the newcomer abandoning the seat. Generally, the blacks prefer to stand in the aisle, enjoying their music plucked to their decorated ears. Similar scenes are simulated in other public places too, be it a park, fast food joint, intercity train, bus, or airport lounge. Of course, the younger generation is now becoming a pleasant exception to all these reflexive practices inadvertently followed by their elders. Also, professional level interactions with the counterparts from the world of education and business are entirely free from these biases. I was once visiting the office of a company with which I had recently established a successful trade relationship. On entering the office 10 minutes before the appointed time, I was routinely ignored by the beauty queen at the reception desk. Even after reminding twice, she brushed me off. Perhaps the greatest favor shown to a hash brown skin was to permit a seat in the reception area. Around the appointed time, the secretary to the chairman walked in to alert the receptionist about the scheduled visitor. And when she pointed out to me, the secretary informed the chairman over the phone. Next moment, the chairman sprang out of his office to greet me. Grinning delightfully, he pumped my hand affectionately and escorted me to his private office most honorably. The beauty queen almost fainted. My next visit to the office, a couple of months later, evoked an unprecedented response from this yet to become Miss Universe. After all, the security of job is more important than the pleasure of racial discrimination. The American governments, federal and state, condemn racial discrimination very strongly. If noticed, it is punished severely. Therefore, the American citizens are scared to be seen discriminating someone on the basis of the color of the skin. Let me end with a hilarious incident that worked to my advantage. On the way to the international airport, I hurriedly visited a big shop and selected something that was to be accompanied by Chloe Eau de Perfume as a free gift. At the pay counter, the lady realized that Chloe gift bottles were out of stock. But instead of breaking the news politely, she declared, "That scheme has been called off." Her announcement disappointed me. In fact, I would not have bought that item had it not been accompanied by this very free gift, entirely because my wife wanted me to buy a small 5 ml handy bottle of Chloe. I had forgotten to purchase it so far. I responded to the cashier by pointing out the dangler a few feet away and asked her why that was not removed then. She declared, "It is entirely the prerogative of the management." I raised my voice further to attract the attention of the management. That worked, and the management arrived in the form of a younger white lady. The lady looked at me. Noticing the color of my skin, she was so terrified that she held my hand and looked around frightfully and dragged me to a corner. She asked whether I suspected racial discrimination from the cashier. I was stumped. Before I opened my mouth, she shoved into my hand 3 packets of Chloe along with 2 moisturizers, 1 lip gloss, 2 lipsticks, and a shower gel and apologized profusely for the misconduct of her colleague. I was taken aback so much that on my way out I forgot to thank the cashier for her beneficial misconduct. Color is not always a disadvantage after all. Thank you.